The Galactic Union had seen many species rise and fall. Some were smart, some were strong, but none were as strange as the humans. They came late to space. Their ships were big, ugly, and slow. They used old metal, had no stealth, no plasma weapons, no energy shields, so the galaxy laughed. In the grand halls of the Union Council, jokes about Earth were common. Humans still use missiles, one alien said, making the others roar with laughter. They bolt armor to their ships like it's a medieval war. They call their fleet battleships, as if they're fighting in the ocean. Even the young alien cadets were taught, if you ever meet a human ship, don't shoot. Just wait. It'll break down on its own. Earth knew all of this. They heard the jokes. They saw how their ambassadors were treated like fools. But they said nothing. For years, Earth remained quiet. Their fleet didn't join the Union patrols. Their warships stayed near home, rusting in orbit, watching the stars without a sound. The rest of the galaxy forgot about them. But space is full of secrets. It started with a whisper. Mining ship near the edge of the Cygnus sector picked up a strange signal, old human code. At first, they thought it was a ghost transmission, some broken probe, echoing in the void. But the signal moved. The miners sent a drone. The drone never came back. Then a second signal appeared, stronger this time, near a dead system called Siri Delta, where no ships had flown for decades. The Union sent a scout cruiser to check it out. 3 days later, only static came from that. Sector. Captain Zira of the Zarnak Navy watched the report with a smirk. Old Earth tech, she said. Probably exploded trying to start up. Let the monkeys play with their toys. But deep inside the Union command, not everyone was laughing. A few analysts began connecting reports, missing ships, dead systems, strange energy spikes. All near zones where old Earth warships had once patrolled. Ships that hadn't moved in over 50 years. And yet, they were moving now. In a hidden moon base, Commander Elias Rourke stood in silence. He watched the stars through a cracked window. His face was worn, his eyes cold. He had once been Earth's youngest admiral. Now he was a ghost forgotten by the world he swore to protect. They forgot us, he said quietly. They think we're weak. Behind him, engineers worked fast. Massive engines roared to life, on ancient ships. The TNS Behemoth, the Hammer of Terra, and the Steel Dawn, once thought to be scrap, now hummed with power. Let them laugh, Rourke whispered. Let them believe our fleet is old. He turned to his crew. Because when these ships wake up, the galaxy will remember why they feared us. Back in the Union Council, new footage arrived. A drone had survived. It had captured something impossible. A massive human battleship flying through the void, burning through an asteroid belt. It didn't dodge. It didn't cloak. It simply flew forward, smashing rocks with its armored hull, launching missiles. Like thunder, the room fell silent. That can't be right, said one elder. No ship can take that kind of damage. But the ship did. It didn't just survive, it kept moving. Slowly. Like a beast waking from a long sleep. One general stood up. We need to contact Earth. But Earth didn't reply. In Earth's orbit, hundreds of old ships floated like a graveyard. Most were silent, dead. But slowly lights began to flicker on. Weapons hummed, engines glowed. The fleet was waking up. From every corner of the planet, encrypted orders were sent out. Sleepers were called back. Hidden bunkers opened. Soldiers once thought retired received one message: return to duty. The fleet rises. Meanwhile, on the edge of space, a small pirate group spotted one of the old human ships. They laughed. Easy target, the captain said. They attacked. Minutes later, only wreckage remained. A signal was sent out from the human ship. No words, just coordinates. The message was clear. We are coming. By the end of the week, the Galactic's Union held an emergency meeting. 12 systems had gone dark, 3 fleets were missing, and Earth still hadn't answered any calls. The head speaker, a wise old being named Tolvac, stood before the council. We believed Earth was weak, that their fleet was dead, but it seems the humans have not forgotten war. He looked around the room, and now they are reminding us. Space is dark, silent, but something was moving in that silence. In Sector 41 Theta, a patrol ship named Vresh Khan flew through empty stars. It was supposed to be a simple mission: scan old wrecks, check radiation levels, and return. Nothing. Dangerous, the crew was bored, but then the lights flickered. The radar screen went black. "System glitch?" the pilot asked. The captain frowned. "This ship doesn't glitch." Suddenly a shape appeared outside, a shadow moving against the stars, slow, heavy, old. It had no energy signature, no transponder, no message, just presence. The crew watched in frozen silence as the object came closer. The light from the stars finally touched its hull, and then they saw it. Human markings, Earth's war crest, painted in red. The alien pilot stammered, "Is that a Terran battleship?" The captain backed away from the screen. "That can't be. That class was retired 100 years ago." The ship outside didn't stop. It didn't speak. It simply opened its missile bays. 1 hour later, the Vresh Khan stopped responding. The Union marked it as lost to technical failure, but it wasn't the only one. Across the edges of the galaxy, more ships vanished. Civilian haulers, pirate gangs, smuggler scouts, gone. No distress calls, no escape pods, just silence, and black box recordings filled with static and shadows. New rumor began to spread through the space lanes. Old Earth ships are flying again, and they don't take prisoners. In a hidden base near the Orion Expanse, Admiral Sareth of the Kelnari Empire watched a shaky video feed recovered from a destroyed drone. It showed a single Terran battleship, the TNS Dreadwalker, hovering above a dead moon. Its hull was covered in scars, no lights, no sound, and yet it moved with purpose. Its engines didn't hum. They growled. "This can't be possible," Sareth muttered. These ships were outdated. But the data said otherwise. The human battleships had no advanced shields, but their armor could take direct hits from plasma cannons and still fly. They had no AI, but they operated like living predators, and worse, they never retreated. In the Union's Central Defense Chamber, high-ranking generals argued, "Maybe it's just rogue humans," one said, "or some kind of test. Earth's government has been silent for too long. We need answers." Then a live transmission interrupted the room. Static buzzed, then a deep voice echoed, a human voice. "This is Commander Elias Rourke of the Terran Warden Fleet." The room went silent. 50 years ago you laughed at us, called us weak, obsolete. You pushed Earth into the shadows. You stripped us of honor. He paused. "You should have finished the job." Behind him, the screen showed a fleet. Dozens of old Earth warships flying in perfect formation, weapons hot, engines roaring. "We are the ghosts you created. And now, we're coming back." The screen went dark. Panic spread fast. Union fleets were ordered to regroup, but it was too late. In the Drexel system, a formation of 5 alien cruisers prepared for battle. They had cutting-edge plasma shields and auto-targeting weapons. Each ship had enough power to destroy a moon. They were confident, until the first human warship dropped out of light speed. The TNS Iron Rain. It looked like a floating fortress, slow, rusted, and ugly. The alien captain laughed. 1 ship? Against 5? Then the Iron Rain fired. Not plasma, not lasers, kinetic cannons. Giant metal slugs moving at impossible speed. 1 alien ship exploded instantly. The second lost its engines. Before they could respond, human boarding pods smashed into the hulls. Terran, soldiers in reinforced suits swarmed the decks. No mercy, no diplomacy, just war. Within minutes, the battle was over. 4 cruisers gone, 1 limped away. Its captain sobbing. "They don't fight like us," he whispered. "They fight like they've been waiting for revenge." The Galactic Union finally understood. This wasn't a drill. Earth's fleet had not grown obsolete. It had evolved in the shadows. No energy tricks, no fancy AI, just pure, brutal warfare, designed to break the enemies of humanity. The Union issued a Level 0 alert, full military readiness, but no one knew where the Terran fleet would strike next. The last message received came from a Union beacon in a dying system. Signal picked up. 30 ships, Terran design, no response, approaching fast, then silence. From the black corners of space, they were coming. Ships forgotten by time, commanders fueled by history, a fleet born in mockery, now reborn in fire. In the cold dark between stars, something old was moving, something angry. Union command believed they still had time. Time to talk, time to prepare. Time to stop the humans before things got worse. They were wrong. The planet Lorexus 9 was peaceful. A trade hub. Ships from 20 alien species came and went. Kids played in sky domes. Merchants sold glowing crystals and spice clouds. At 1402 Standard Galactic Time, the sky turned red. First, the stars vanished, blotted out by massive silent shapes above the atmosphere. Then came the sound. Low. Deep. Like a growl from the void, alien. Civilians looked up, confused. Are those ships? They look Terran. They can't be. Earth's fleet is scrap metal. A broadcast played across every channel, audio only. This is Terran Command. Leave this system. You have 2 minutes. Then, silence. Union defense ships scrambled. The local fleet, 12 cruisers, 4 dreadnoughts, was considered strong. Their admiral laughed. 2 minutes? Let's show them what real ships look like. The Terran fleet didn't wait. At exactly 2 minutes, Earth's warships opened fire. No warnings, no mercy, no negotiations. The first strike came from the TNS Cataclysm, a behemoth once declared unfit for combat by Union engineers. Its cannons weren't smart. They didn't track targets, they just fired. Giant rods of tungsten the size of small buildings, launched with such force they tore through multiple ships in a single hit. 2 Union dreadnoughts were destroyed in seconds, not disabled, erased. Panic spread. Union ships returned fire. Plasma, beams, pulse missiles, shield disruptors. The Terran ships didn't dodge. They took the hits. Some lost plating. Some caught fire. But they kept moving forward. And when they reached close range, the real terror began. Human boarding pods smashed into hulls. Terran Marines in thick armor, some of it scorched, some covered in ancient battle flags, stormed the decks. They didn't shout orders. They didn't ask for surrender. They moved like machines. One alien officer tried to reason with a human soldier. Why are you doing this? We're not your enemy. The Terran's voice came through the helmet, calm and cold. You laughed at us. Then he pulled the trigger. Within 20 minutes, the battle was over. The skies of Lorexus 9 burned orange. Alien ships fell like rain. The Terran fleet didn't stay. They didn't land. They didn't speak. They left a single message behind. This is your first lesson. The Galactic Union went into full lockdown. Systems across the galaxy shut their ports. Terrified merchants abandoned trade routes. Entire species went silent, hoping the humans wouldn't notice them. In a hidden bunker on Earth's moon, Commander Elias Rourke watched the reports roll in. He showed no joy, no anger, just a quiet nod. Phase 1 complete, he said. A young officer approached. Sir, the Union is in panic. Their fleets are mobilizing. Rourke's eyes narrowed. Good. Let them come. Behind him on a massive star map, red dots blinked in formation. One word glowed beneath them. Revenge elsewhere, in the council chambers of the Galactic Union, chaos reigned. They're monsters. No, they're sending a message. We need peace talks. They don't want peace. They want payback. Then the council's head advisor, a creature with 10 eyes and a mind like a computer, stood up and said, We created this. We mocked the humans. We broke their honor. And now they are teaching us what happens when Earth gets angry. That night, a transmission spread through pirate channels, black markets, and outlaw networks. A voice whispered, The Terran Warden fleet is real. They're not fighting for Earth. They're fighting for memory. And they've only just begun. Across the stars, alien civilizations shivered. They had built fleets with energy shields. They had trusted in speed, in stealth, in AI. They had forgotten the raw, brutal force of ancient Terran warcraft. Now those ships were rising like ghosts, and they were striking back. The galaxy was in shock. 12 systems had gone dark. 3 Union fleets were destroyed, and Earth still said nothing. No diplomats, no peace offer, no warning, just silence. And then, a face returned from the dead. On every galactic channel, military, civilian, pirate, private, the screens flickered. Static. Then a man appeared. His eyes were cold, his face weathered by time and war. A long scar crossed his left cheek. Wore old Terran military armor, black with red stripes. The room fell quiet. He spoke. "I am General Elias Rourke, former commander of Earth's 9th Fleet." Gasps spread across alien worlds. Rourke had vanished decades ago. Rumors said he died in a failed mission. Others said he'd gone mad and was locked away. But now, here, he was alive and in command of a nightmare. "You called our fleet obsolete. You laughed at our tactics. You erased us from your memory. And now, I've erased your fleets from the stars." His voice was deep, calm, dangerous. Behind him, a screen lit up. Dozens of old human battleships hovered in formation, fire still trailing from their cannons. Black flags waved from their hulls, a symbol no one had seen in years. "The Iron Wolf of Terra. Your high command will try to fight," Rourke continued. "They'll send more ships, better tech, smarter weapons." He leaned closer to the camera. "Let them come. They forgot that humans don't need smart weapons to win. We only need a reason." Then the screen went black. On the ground, millions of alien civilians began to panic. News anchors stuttered. Military leaders argued. Religious cults formed overnight, preaching the return of the war ghost of Earth. And in a Union prison, a human war veteran smiled and whispered, "He's really back." In the shadows of Mars, beneath the old Terran Navy Academy, another fleet began to move. These ships were not old. They were new, built in silence, hidden for years. Their designs were based on Rourke's war doctrine. No stealth, no AI, no energy fluff, just speed, armor, cannons, and rage. Each ship was named after a fallen colony. A lost battle, a forgotten hero. The lead ship? TNS Vengeance of Vega. Back in the Galactic Union's war room, High Commander Talek paced in fury. "Why didn't we watch Earth more closely?" A younger officer replied, shaking. "Because, sir, we thought they were done." Talek's claws tapped the steel desk. "Then we were fools." He turned to the holomap of space. Red lights blinked across it, Terran fleets moving through forgotten routes, reactivating old beacons, gaining ground. Without firing a shot, it wasn't just war, it was a return, a calculated one. Rourke wasn't just attacking planets. He was taking back places the galaxy stole from Earth long ago. A coded message arrived at Union Command. No encryption, just 4 words. "We remember the betrayal." Meanwhile, on a broken moon at the edge of known space, the Terran fleet gathered. Thousands of soldiers, humans born on Mars, Luna, the Jovian moons, stood in silence as General Rourke addressed them. "This isn't conquest," he said. "This is justice." He raised a Terran flag that hadn't flown in 100 years. "They wanted to erase us. Let's show them what it means to be remembered." The troops saluted. The engines roared. The Terran fleet turned toward the next system, Arcanus Prime, a planet that once belonged to Earth, until the Union took it in a political deal. Now, Rourke was coming to take it back. A new message echoed through the galaxy, carried on every open channel. The General has returned. The fleet has awakened, and Earth remembers everything. Far beyond the reach of Union eyes, a world began to stir. Not a colony, not a city, a planet, Earth. For years it had been silent, forgotten, avoided, insulted. Now, it was waking up. A stealth probe from the Galactic Union entered Sol's system, quietly, invisible, silent. It drifted past Neptune, glided near Jupiter's moons, and headed toward Earth. Its AI expected to find decay. Instead, it saw fire. Massive shipyards orbited the planet, once dark, now fully lit. Hundreds of dry docks were building ships, not one, not two, thousands. Heavy cruisers, planet killers, dreadnoughts, escort wolves, each designed for one thing: brutal war. But these weren't old ships. These were new monsters. Built using human muscle and ancient Terran steel, no fancy alien tech, just raw power. The probe scanned their weapons systems. It stopped transmitting 0.7 seconds later, burned out by a magnetic pulse. Earth knew it was being watched, and Earth didn't care. Inside a hidden command bunker in Iceland, alarms blinked on. "Another Union probe, sir," a tech officer said. General Rourke, now back on Earth, didn't look surprised. "They're starting to notice." Another officer asked, "Should we jam the signals again?" Rourke shook his head. "No, let them watch." Then he gave the order. "Activate Project Iron Core." Far beneath Earth's crust, giant vaults opened. Machines groaned. Old engines coughed to life. Buried for a century, Fortress Earth began to rise. Massive towers broke through mountain ranges. Orbital cannons the size of cities extended skyward. Anti-fleet shields formed a web around the planet. Not defense. A trap. Earth had not been sleeping. It had been arming. News spread fast across the galaxy. The core of humanity was not weak. It was a war machine, hidden behind fake peace treaties and diplomatic lies. The Galactic Union's greatest failure: letting Earth live. On Arcanus Prime, where Union forces waited for Terran attack, the alien commander, Varnak, received a simple message from one of his scouts: "Earth is no longer a world. It's a weapon." In secret alien war councils, the panic deepened. "What do they want?" one general asked. Another whispered, "They want the galaxy to remember who started this. Maybe they'll stop after Arcanus?" "No," said a trembling scientist. "They have maps of every insult, every betrayal, every planet stolen from Earth, every laugh. They're not just attacking planets. They're rewriting history." In orbit around Earth, the fleet grew. Ships, painted black and red. Each hull carried names of lost Terran colonies: Justice for Europa, Revenge for Vega, Blood of Sirius. No AIs, no talking machines, only humans. Angry, focused, relentless. Rourke stood aboard the flagship, TNS Black Vow. He looked out at his fleet. Then to his crew he spoke. "They thought Earth was broken. They thought our ships were outdated. They thought they could erase us. Now we show them the truth. Earth is not a memory. It's the storm they thought would never come." Across the galaxy, the stars began to shift, not because of gravity, not because of science, but because of fear. The death world was awake, and it was moving. It began without warning. One by one, stars across the galaxy lit up, not from light, but from fire. Entire systems went dark. Trade routes vanished. Planets that once thrived were left in silence. The Terran fleet had arrived. On the edge of the Glavis sector, the Union's 7th Armada waited. 100 ships. New tech, elite captains. They were prepared, or so they thought. Then came the signal. Incoming fleet. Size unknown. No ID. No transponder. Moving fast. They expected pirates. They expected rebels. They did not expect what came next. Out of the void came black giants, massive Terran battleships flying in tight formation. Each one looked like a fortress. No flashing lights, no sleek designs, just metal, fire, and fury. The lead ship, TNS Black Vow sent one message. This is not a war. This is a reckoning. The Union admiral, a tall insectoid named Cathrex, ordered full firepower. All ships, fire everything, wipe them out. The sky exploded in light, missiles, plasma beams, disruptor blasts. But the Terran ships kept coming. They didn't dodge. They didn't hide. They charged, and they returned fire. No fancy tracking systems, just old-school slug throwers, rail cannons, and high-yield warheads, designed to destroy, not impress. One Terran shell tore through 3 Union frigates before, detonating, another slammed into a battleship, ripping its hull open like paper. Cathrex watched in horror as one of Earth's older ships, the TNS Warborn, took 4 direct hits and still rammed his lead cruiser head-on, both ships exploding in a shockwave of fire and steel. The battle was supposed to last hours. It ended in 12 minutes. Only 7 Union ships survived. They didn't fight again. News. Spread like wildfire. Terran fleet unstoppable. Entire systems lost in hours. Human ships defy logic, take impossible damage, and win. Earth has turned war into a religion, but the truth was darker. They weren't just fighting, they were remembering. In every battle, human ships left behind a symbol, a metal plaque floating in space, marked with a single word: debt. These weren't random attacks. These were paybacks. System by system, insult by insult, pain for pain. Back on Earth, inside the command bunker, Rourke stood in silence. He looked at a giant display. Each red light was a Terran victory. His officer spoke. "Sir, the next target is asking for peace talks." Rourke didn't blink. Did they ask for peace when they stripped Earth of honor? Did they ask for peace when they mocked our fleet? He walked to the screen. No peace, not yet. Not until the last laugh belongs to us. Across space, alien refugees ran from their own governments. Some tried to defect. Others begged for forgiveness. But the Terran fleet didn't answer calls. They only moved forward. On the burned ruins of the planet Vekros, where Union elites once built monuments to their glory, a message burned across the sky. We were obsolete. Now we are fire. In one final act of desperation, the Galactic Union summoned every remaining fleet, over 10,000 ships. It would be the largest armada ever assembled, and it would face off against Earth's war-forged wrath in the next star system. Everyone knew what was coming. Every race in the galaxy watched. Every leader held their breath. Because this wasn't just a battle. This was the moment the galaxy would decide who ruled the stars. The stars were quiet. Too quiet. Every ship, every satellite, every soldier across the galaxy waited, because they all knew this was it. The largest space armada in history, 10,000 alien warships from 36 species, was now gathered in the Osarian expanse, forming a massive defense wall across 3 systems. They called it the Final Shield. At its heart stood the Galactic Union's newest dreadnought, the Crown of Unity, a ship bigger than a moon. Admirals boasted, "No force can break us now. Even Earth must bow." But deep down, they were afraid, because something was coming, and it wasn't just ships. It was the fury of a forgotten world. Then, the stars dimmed. Sensors failed. Communications went silent. And from the darkness, they arrived. The Terran fleet jumped in like a rising tide, not thousands, hundreds of thousands. Humanity had launched 700,000 ships, and they weren't shiny. They weren't elegant. They were angry old war beasts, new steel monsters, hybrids born from black site projects and ancient battle doctrines. Each ship carried one thing in common: a flag soaked in history. At the center of it all stood TNS Black Vow, with General Elias Rourke standing tall, looking over the burning horizon. He opened one last channel to the enemy fleet. "You gathered everything you had. You brought your best. Now watch how Earth ends wars." Then, silence. And then, the stars caught fire. The battle was not a war, it was a storm. Terran ships didn't hold formation. They charged. Like wolves unleashed, Their weapons didn't aim for control. They aimed for destruction. Union ships exploded by the dozens, screaming for help that never came. The Crown of Unity tried to flee, but 5 Terran dreadnoughts rammed it at once, tearing it apart from within. The largest ship in galactic history died in flames and screaming metal. Alien fleets scattered, but there was nowhere to run. The humans had cut off every escape route. They knew the terrain. They had mapped the stars in silence for years. Rourke's voice returned, broadcast across the galaxy. This is not conquest, this is memory. You made Earth kneel. We rose from that knee. And now we stand. When it was over, the silence was total. Not a single Union warship remained in Osarian. Only wreckage, drifting, smoking, and from the darkness, one human message floated among the stars. The stars remember who burned first. Back on Earth, people watched from cities carved into mountains, from orbiting colonies, and from underwater bunkers. They didn't cheer, they didn't shout, they remembered. And across the galaxy, every species, whether soldier or slave, noble or outcast, learned the truth. Earth had been mocked, silenced, underestimated. And now, Earth ruled the stars. No one laughed again. Not at their ships, not at their steel, not at their scars. Because in the end, the galaxy stood still, and humanity moved forward,